So for 5.2 task 2, it tells us that a ratio can be written in several different ways. We use the word to, we can use the colon, or we can write it as a fraction. You should have written that down in your notes. And a ratio is when we compare two things, this compared to this compared to this. We can compare parts to parts, like piece and piece, or we can compare parts to the whole entire thing. So number 2 tells us that Erin is making this quilt over here for a craft fair. The quilt is made with different colors, 4 different colors of fabric as shown in the picture. This first one wants us to do this tape diagram to model the ratio to the number of blue first to the number of white second. So first we just need to count how many blue there are. I can see 1, 2, 3 of those. So we're going to label these with B's. These are blue. There's 3 of them. Now we need to count how many white there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white squares. So we're going to label these. So we have 3 blue, 5 white. Now we're going to complete the ratios to compare blue to white. How many blue do we have? 3. How many white do we have? 5. And we're going to write it all 3 ways. If you put the 5 first, that's going to be wrong. That's white, and it wants blue first. You have to do the blue first, which is 3. White is second. So make sure you write it all 3 ways there. So for every 3 blue, we have 5, whoop, missed my H, 5 white. So now, I have a few little things here I didn't delete. Oh, there we go. Okay. So write a part to whole ratio or a whole to part comparison about the quilt and using symbols and using ratio language such as for each, for every. So we're going to write one of those statements to compare a part to a whole. So we're going to come and we're going to do red and we're going to compare it to the total. Whoops. Total, because it wants a part and it wants a whole. So we're going to do red and total. So if I look at red, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 red. So for every 4 red, there are blank total. So to find the total, what we need to do is we need to count up every single square. It's going to be a number between 10 and 20. I'll help you out there. So count all your squares and fill that in. So every time we have 4 red, there were really how many in that section of the quilt. Okay, and then our last one says for every small green square, there are 2 large green squares. So if we look here, right, 1 green, 2 big ones, or sorry, 1 small, 2 big. I'm going to draw myself a little picture of that right here, just so I don't have to keep looking up there. So we have 1 little one, and we have 2 big ones. And it might be helpful if you just draw that out as well. You can just use your pencil, that's fine, right? 1 little, 2 big. So we have little squares, we have big squares, and we also have the total green squares. 1 little square, 2 big squares, total 3 squares. 1, 2, 3. So this says, does this mean that every 1 out of 2 green squares is small? 1 out of 2, no, because this wants 1 out of the total. Is this our total? No, our total is 3. If it was 1 out of 2, that would mean there's 1 little one, 2 big ones, but it doesn't say big. It just says all the green squares. So our ratio should really be 1 to 3, right? These are the little ones, and these are the total. We need to make sure we use that total, not the green, or not the big ones. It doesn't want big. It doesn't want little to big. It wanted little to the total there. So they were wrong. this should be correct. So make sure you have all of that done and get those checked off.